Let me ask you something most men are afraid to admit. Have you ever stared at your phone? Typed her name. Deleted the message. Typed it again. And felt your chest tighten just thinking about pressing send? That moment right there, that hesitation, is where your strength is tested. Not when she loves you. Not when she chooses you. But when she walks away. Because any man can feel confident when he's wanted. But very few can remain composed when they are ignored. In this video, I'm going to show you a principle most men learn too late, a rule that will protect your dignity, your value, and your peace. You will understand exactly when to contact her again, and when silence is your greatest weapon. This is not about ego. This is about power. And if you truly want to become a man who is respected, not chased by emotion, then listen carefully. Because one wrong message can undo everything. Welcome to the channel, Stoic Love Wisdom. This is where every story and lesson about love will help you find the answer. Today, we will explore a new perspective through the topic, only contact her again if this happens. This is a principle of a man of character. These are real-life experiences and profound lessons that will change the way you perceive love. Follow me, because the most surprising and interesting things are still waiting for you ahead. Before starting, find a quiet place, put on your headphones and relax your mind. Let the sharing in this video help you feel more fully and enjoy every meaningful moment. Are you ready to embark on this journey? Let's begin. Part 1, The Principle of Silence, Why Most Men Break First. Let me tell you something most men will never admit. When she leaves. When she pulls away. When the messages slow down. When the warmth turns cold. Most men don't lose her because she stopped loving them. They lose her because they couldn't sit still. They couldn't endure silence. They couldn't endure uncertainty. They couldn't endure the wound to their ego. So they reached out. Not from strength. Not from clarity. Not from purpose. But from fear. And fear is loud. I've lived long enough to understand one brutal truth. The moment you feel the strongest urge to contact her, is usually the moment you shouldn't. This is the first principle of Stoic love. Not suppression. Not manipulation. Not pretending you don't care. But mastery over impulse. The difference between a boy and a man. A boy reacts. A man decides. When she leaves, a boy's mind screams. What did I do wrong? Is she talking to someone else? Should I send one more message? Maybe if I explain better. Maybe if I apologize again. He negotiates his dignity for reassurance. A man does something far more difficult. He sits with the discomfort. He does not chase clarity from someone who chose distance. He understands this. If she wanted to stay, she would. That sentence alone separates the emotionally dependent from the self-governed. Silence is not a strategy. It is a standard. Let's make something clear. You do not go silent to manipulate her into missing you. You go silent because you respect yourself. The Stoics taught something powerful. You do not control what others do. You only control your response. She can leave. She can lose interest. She can be confused. She can choose another path. You do not control that. But you control whether you abandon yourself in response. Most men break their own principles the moment they feel emotional pain. They text at 1:17 a.m. They check her Instagram stories. They analyze every online signal. They create imaginary conversations in their head. And slowly, they shrink. Not because she rejected them. But because they rejected their own composure. Emotional urgency is not truth. Listen carefully. Just because you feel something strongly does not mean you must act on it. The urge to contact her is often not love. It is anxiety. It is attachment withdrawal. It is ego bleeding. It is the fear of being replaced. The Stoic understands something crucial. An emotion is a visitor, not a commander. You let it arrive. You observe it. You do not let it dictate your behavior. If she has stepped away, your first responsibility is not to fix the connection. It is to stabilize yourself. Because when a man acts from emotional instability, he lowers his value every time. Why chasing kills attraction? Women are not drawn to need. They are drawn to grounded presence. When you chase someone who is pulling away, you communicate one thing. I need you more than I need my own peace. And the moment that becomes visible, the dynamic shifts. Respect fades before attraction does. Understand this clearly. A woman may miss you. She may feel uncertain. She may even test distance to see your reaction. But if your reaction is panic, persuasion, or pleading, you confirm that her withdrawal destabilizes you. And nothing is less attractive than a man who collapses under emotional pressure. The real question. When she leaves, do not ask, how do I get her back? Ask, why am I disturbed? Is it love? Or is it ego? Is it connection? Or is it validation withdrawal? Most men confuse emotional dependency with devotion. Devotion is calm. Dependency is frantic. Stoic love is not cold. It is controlled. It is not about suppressing desire. It is about never allowing desire to outrank dignity. The first rule of recontact. You do not contact her because you miss her. You do not contact her because you are lonely. You do not contact her because silence feels unbearable. You contact her only if one condition exists. You are emotionally unaffected by the outcome. Let that sink in. If she replies warmly, good. If she replies coldly, fine. If she does not reply, irrelevant. Until you reach that level of inner stability, any attempt to reconnect is premature. Because if your peace depends on her response, you are not ready. And she will feel that. Women sense emotional dependence faster than men admit. The power of withdrawing with grace. When she steps away, your job is not to prove your worth. Your job is to embody it. You don't need to announce your absence. You don't need to post quotes about detachment. You don't need to perform indifference. You simply return to your mission. Your training. Your work. Your growth. Your discipline. Silence becomes powerful when it is backed by substance. Otherwise, it is just waiting. And waiting with anxiety is not strength. It is delayed chasing. Let me be honest with you. There were times in my life when I broke this rule. I sent the message. I asked for clarity. I tried to fix what she had already decided to leave. And every time, I didn't just lose her. I lost a piece of my self-respect. Because deep down, I knew. She was watching how I handled distance. And I failed that test. Not because she wanted perfection. But because she wanted stability. The man she can return to. If she ever considers coming back, it will not be to the man who begged. It will not be to the man who explained himself endlessly. It will not be to the man who monitored her stories. It will be to the man who remained centered. The man who respected her space without collapsing. The man who continued building. The man whose life did not pause because she stepped away. That man is rare. And rarity creates value. So when should you contact her? Not yet. Not in part 1. Because before we talk about the condition that justifies recontact, you must first understand the discipline required to deserve it. If you cannot master silence, you cannot handle reconnection. Because reconnection requires power. And power comes from emotional sovereignty. In the next part, I will explain the single event that changes everything. The only condition under which a Stoic man reaches out again. Not to chase. Not to negotiate. But to decide. Until then, remember this. Silence is not weakness. It is the proving ground of your self-control. And a man who cannot endure silence will never command respect in love. Have you ever realized that, in love, moments of silence are sometimes more powerful than 1,000 words? Because in silence, we can hear our heartbeat more clearly and feel the presence of the other person more deeply. Here, I want to explore with you that strength, peace, and stability even when love goes through challenges. If you feel that these shares bring you something positive, please click like to support. And if you haven't clicked subscribe, do it now, so you don't miss any insight into love and maturity. I also hope to hear your story. What is the most valuable lesson that love has taught you? Please share in the comments section so we can learn and be inspired together. Come on, let's move on to the next part with a more prepared mind. Part 2, the only condition, when she reaches for you first. Now we go deeper. You've learned the first discipline. Silence is not absence. Silence is strength under control. But now comes the question every man secretly wants answered. When is it right to contact her again? Here is the principle. Not when you miss her. Not when you feel nostalgic. Not when you are lonely on a Sunday night. You contact her only when this happens. She has shown clear, voluntary investment toward you again. Read that twice. Not breadcrumbs. Not curiosity. Not ego checks. Clear. Voluntary. Investment. What most men get wrong. She likes one of your stories. She views your profile. She reacts to a post. She sends a, "Hey." And suddenly your heart races. You think, this is it. She misses me. No. This is attention. Not investment. A Stoic man distinguishes between the two. Attention is light. Investment is weight. Attention costs her nothing. Investment costs her vulnerability. If she truly wants to reconnect, she will risk something. Her pride. Her certainty. Her emotional safety. Until that happens, you remain still. The law of emotional leverage. In every connection, someone cares more. And the one who cares less holds emotional leverage. This isn't cruelty. It's psychology. When she stepped away, she held the leverage. If you chase, you increase the imbalance. If you beg, you surrender your position. If you remain composed, you restore neutrality. But if she reaches back with effort, the dynamic shifts. Because now she risks rejection. Now she wonders. Now she feels uncertainty. And that is when you can respond, not from need, but from evaluation. The difference between curiosity and intention. Let me make this crystal clear. Curiosity looks like, "Hey stranger. How have you been?" A meme. A random reaction. A vague late-night message. Intention looks like, "I've been thinking about us. I realized I may have handled things wrong. Can we talk properly? I miss what we had." Do you see the difference? Curiosity keeps you orbiting. Intention invites real conversation. Curiosity is ego fishing. Intention is emotional accountability. A Stoic man does not reward low effort with high enthusiasm. Why you must let her feel the absence. When a woman leaves and you immediately chase, she never experiences your absence. And if she never feels your absence, she cannot measure your value. Absence creates perspective. Silence creates contrast. When you remove your presence completely, your validation, your attention, your availability, she is left alone with her decision. And in that space, one of two things happens. She feels relief, which means you are not aligned. She feels loss, which means your presence mattered. If she feels loss strongly enough, she will act. Not subtly. Not vaguely. But directly. And that is the moment you consider engagement. The Stoic response when she reaches out. Now listen carefully. When she reaches out with genuine effort, you do not over-celebrate. Immediately reopen emotionally. Pretend nothing happened. Demand explanations aggressively. You stay calm. Measured. Grounded. You respond, not react. Your energy should communicate one message. I am open, but I am not waiting. You are not cold. You are not resentful. But you are not eager either. You are stable. And stability is magnetic. Why this principle protects you? This rule isn't about pride. It's about protection. If you contact her while still emotionally attached to an outcome, you expose yourself to instability. If she responds coldly, you spiral. If she ignores you, you obsess. If she is inconsistent, you analyze. But when she invests first, the emotional risk is shared. And shared risk creates balance. A relationship without balance becomes dependency. And dependency erodes respect. Let me tell you a truth from experience. In my younger years, I broke this rule many times. I would justify it. I'm just checking in. I'm being mature. I don't want misunderstandings. But beneath all those excuses was one truth. I was uncomfortable with uncertainty. And I wanted relief. Not reconnection. Relief. There is a difference. Relief is selfish. Reconnection is mutual. When you contact her for relief, she feels the imbalance. And even if she responds kindly, something shifts. She senses that you needed her reaction. And a man who needs a reaction gives away power. If she never reaches out, then you have your answer. And this is the hardest pill to swallow. If weeks pass, if months pass, if silence remains absolute, that silence is communication. It means her path diverged. And your strength is measured not by how you chase what left, but by how peacefully you accept what does not return. Stoicism is not about indifference. It is about alignment with reality. And reality does not bend to longing. The subtle test. Sometimes she will reach out halfway. Testing. Probing. Seeing if you are still emotionally accessible. This is where most men fail. They overinvest immediately. They reopen emotionally without observing her consistency. A Stoic man watches patterns. Not moments. Consistency reveals intention. Anyone can send a message. Few can sustain effort. Do not reward a spark with a wildfire. Let her prove stability. The power of being selective. Here is something powerful. When she reaches out, you are not obligated to respond immediately. You are not obligated to respond at all. You decide. Because now the leverage is neutral. And a man who chooses deliberately communicates value without saying a word. You are not punishing. You are evaluating. Does she align with your standards now? Has anything changed? Has she grown? Or is she simply bored? You do not reconnect because she returned. You reconnect because she returned correctly. The single condition, repeated clearly. You only reinitiate real conversation when she reaches out first. She shows clear emotional investment. She demonstrates consistent effort. You are emotionally detached from outcome. If any of these are missing, you wait. Not because you are playing games, but because you are protecting your self-respect. Part 3, when she comes back. But nothing has changed. Now we enter the most dangerous phase. Not the silence. Not the breakup. Not the loneliness. The most dangerous phase is this. She comes back. And suddenly, all your discipline is tested. Because when she was gone, you were strong. But when she returns, old emotions wake up. Old memories soften you. Old attachment whispers. Maybe this time will be different. Let me tell you something most men learn too late. Just because someone returns does not mean they have evolved. And if nothing has changed in her behavior, but everything changes in your boundaries, you will repeat the same ending. The illusion of second chances. Men romanticize returns. They see it as fate. Destiny. Proof that she realized your value. Sometimes that's true. Often, it's not. Sometimes she comes back because the new option failed. She felt lonely. She missed comfort. She wanted validation. She assumed you were still available. None of these reasons equal growth. And if you mistake nostalgia for transformation, you will suffer again, only this time with open eyes. The Stoic standard, patterns over promises. When she returns, she may say beautiful things. I've changed. I understand now. I was confused. I didn't appreciate you. Words are easy under regret. Patterns are harder. A Stoic man does not evaluate emotions. He evaluates behavior. Not what she feels. Not what she says. But what she consistently does. Does she communicate clearly? Respect your time. Follow through. Take accountability. Show effort without prompting. If the answer is inconsistent, you already know the outcome. Because the future always hides inside repeated behavior. Do not reward temporary emotion. Here's the trap. She comes back intense. She is warm. Attentive. Affectionate. For 2 weeks. Maybe 3. You think, this is different. Then slowly. Old habits resurface. Mixed signals. Withdrawal. Delayed responses. Emotional unpredictability. And now you're confused again. Why? Because you rewarded a temporary emotional spike as permanent change. Emotion fluctuates. Character does not. A Stoic man waits long enough to observe stability. If her effort is real, it will endure consistency. If it is emotional impulse, it will fade. The discipline of detachment, even in reunion. When she returns, your greatest strength is this. You are willing to lose her again. Read that carefully. If you fear losing her again, you will tolerate things you shouldn't. If you are willing to lose her again, you will enforce boundaries calmly. Detachment does not mean you don't care. It means your identity does not depend on the outcome. You can enjoy her presence. You can rebuild slowly. But you never abandon your standards for the comfort of reunion. Ask yourself the hard question. When she returns, ask yourself. Am I choosing her? Or am I relieved she chose me? Those are two different things. If you are simply relieved, you are operating from scarcity. If you are choosing, you are operating from abundance. Scarcity says, I don't want to lose this again. Abundance says, if this doesn't align, I can walk. And women feel that difference immediately. A man who fears loss becomes cautious. A man who accepts loss becomes powerful. The quiet boundary. You don't need dramatic ultimatums. You don't need speeches about respect. You don't need to punish her for leaving. You need something far more dangerous. Calm standards. If she flakes, you don't argue. You withdraw access. If she disrespects, you don't debate. You reduce engagement. If inconsistency appears, you slow down. You observe. You do not chase clarity repeatedly. Because someone who values you does not require constant explanation to behave well. Why most men fail here? Men endure the pain of separation. They rebuild. They discipline themselves. But when she returns, they surrender all progress. Why? Because validation from someone who once rejected you feels intoxicating. It feeds the ego. It feels like victory. But victory without structure is temporary. If she returns and you accept her without evaluating change, you communicate this. No matter what you do, I will always be here. And that destroys leverage. The real test of growth. Growth is not proven in silence. It is proven in re-exposure. Can you see her again? And remain grounded? Can you feel affection? Without losing objectivity? Can you hear her promises? Without being hypnotized? Can you walk away again? If necessary? If yes, you have evolved. If no, you were only pretending to be strong when she was gone. Reconnection is a trial period, not a fairy tale. If she comes back, treat it as a new beginning. Not a continuation. Past dynamics do not automatically resume. Trust is rebuilt slowly. Access is earned again. Energy is reciprocated, not donated. This mindset protects you from emotional relapse. Because here is a harsh truth. Sometimes, the second departure hurts more than the first. Not because she left. But because you ignored what you already knew. The Stoic choice. You do not reject her out of pride. You do not accept her out of loneliness. You observe. You assess. You decide. And sometimes the most powerful decision is this. She returned, but not enough has changed. And you walk away calmly. No drama. No speeches. No revenge. Just clarity. That is masculine composure. If she truly changed, you will feel it. Not in intensity. Not in excitement. But in stability. There will be no emotional chaos. No guessing games. No anxiety spikes. Peace is the indicator. Not passion. Passion can burn bright and die fast. Peace sustains. Understand this deeply. You are not testing her. You are protecting alignment. Love without alignment becomes suffering. Attraction without respect becomes instability. Connection without standards becomes dependency. A Stoic man does not reconnect to relive emotion. He reconnects only if the structure is stronger than before. In love, sometimes silence is the answer. It gives us time to listen to ourselves and understand the other person's heart better. That's also the reason I share stories on this channel, so that you have a pause, a peaceful space to reflect. If you find this meaningful, please click like and don't forget to subscribe, so that we can continue to accompany each other on the journey to find a peaceful and profound love. Now, let's continue the rest with me. Part 4. When she never comes back, mastering the battle within. Now we face the hardest reality. She doesn't text. She doesn't call. She doesn't accidentally like anything. No curiosity. No breadcrumbs. No return. Just silence. And this is where most men reveal who they truly are. Because when she comes back, you're tested by temptation. But when she never comes back, you are tested by absence. The war is no longer external. When she disappears completely, there is no longer a game to play. No strategy. No analysis. No signals to decode. There is only you. And your thoughts. You replay conversations. You remember her laugh. You imagine what she might be doing. You wonder if she misses you. You wonder if she replaced you. You wonder if you should have done something differently. This is not love anymore. This is attachment negotiating with reality. And reality has already spoken. Stoicism begins where control ends. The Stoics were clear about one thing. Control what you can. Release what you cannot. You cannot control whether she thinks about you, whether she regrets her decision, whether she meets someone new, whether she ever reaches out again. You can only control your thoughts, your reactions, your focus, your direction. And here is the uncomfortable truth. Most men don't suffer because she left. They suffer because they refuse to accept that she chose differently. Acceptance feels like defeat to the ego. But it is liberation to the mind. The ego wants closure. The ego says, I need one more conversation. I need to understand why. I need her to admit something. I need an explanation. But closure is not something she gives you. Closure is something you decide. If she walked away and stayed away, that is information. Not a mystery. Not a puzzle. Information. You do not need to decode silence. Silence is clarity. The dangerous habit of mental rehearsal. There is something men rarely admit. When she's gone, they continue the relationship in their head. Imaginary conversations. Imaginary reconciliations. Imaginary scenarios. They replay old memories with idealized filters. But memory is selective. You remember her smile. You forget her inconsistency. You remember passion. You forget confusion. The mind edits pain. And nostalgia becomes addictive. A Stoic man interrupts this pattern. He does not romanticize what destabilized him. He studies it. He learns from it. And then he moves forward. Grief is not weakness. Let's be clear. Detachment does not mean you feel nothing. You will feel it. The emptiness. The quiet. The absence of routine. That is grief. And grief is honorable. But grief must move through you, not define you. Feel it without dramatizing it. Observe it without feeding it. Suffer without surrendering structure. Because pain handled with discipline becomes strength. Pain indulged without structure becomes stagnation. The masculine path forward. When she never comes back, your path is simple. Not easy. But simple. You build. You train. You improve your body. You sharpen your mind. You expand your income. You refine your discipline. You deepen your emotional control. Not to impress her. Not to make her regret. But because you refuse to let one chapter define your story. Too many men shrink after heartbreak. A Stoic man expands. Why letting go increases your value. Ironically, the moment you truly let go is the moment your energy shifts. You stop checking her profile. You stop analyzing. You stop imagining reconciliation. You become present. And presence is powerful. Whether she ever sees it or not becomes irrelevant. Because your life regains direction. And here is something subtle. Women are often drawn back not when you wait, but when you no longer care whether they return. Because that indifference signals emotional independence. But remember, true detachment cannot be faked. If you pretend not to care while secretly hoping, your energy leaks. Real detachment feels calm. Not bitter. Not dramatic. Just calm. The hidden gift of final silence. If she never comes back, she gave you something invaluable. Clarity. You now know. She was not aligned with your future. She was not meant for your next level. She was a lesson, not a lifetime. And lessons are not losses. They are upgrades. But only if you extract wisdom from them. Ask yourself. What did I tolerate? Where did I ignore red flags? Where did I overinvest? Where did I abandon myself? Growth begins with honest reflection. Not blame. Not resentment. Responsibility. Emotional sovereignty. The highest form of masculine power is this. Your emotional state does not depend on another person's presence. You can love deeply. Connect fully. Care sincerely. But you are not destabilized by departure. This is emotional sovereignty. And it is rare. Most people bond through fear of loss. A grounded man bonds through alignment. If alignment breaks, he releases. Without drama. Without vengeance. Without collapse. If she thinks about you one day. Good. If she doesn't. Also good. Your life does not orbit around hypothetical return. It moves forward regardless. That energy, that forward motion, transforms you. And here is the paradox. The more you build a life she cannot interrupt, the less you need her return to validate you. And that is freedom. The final acceptance. There is a moment in every man's growth where he says, if she comes back, I'll evaluate it calmly. If she never comes back, I am still whole. When you reach that state, you win. Not because you got her. Not because you moved on quickly. But because you mastered yourself. Part 5, the final principle, reach out only from power, never from need. Now we bring everything together. You've learned to endure silence. You've learned to wait for real investment. You've learned to evaluate change instead of believing promises. You've learned to accept when she never comes back. Now here is the final principle. The one that separates disciplined men from emotional boys. You only contact her again if you no longer need anything from her. Not validation. Not reassurance. Not closure. Not ego repair. Not nostalgia. Nothing. Reaching out from power versus reaching out from emptiness. There are two emotional states from which a man can reconnect. The first is emptiness. He feels lonely. He feels uncertain. He feels nostalgic. He wants relief. So he texts. That message carries weight. Not visible. But felt. And women feel emotional need faster than men admit. The second state is power. He is stable. Focused. Busy. Improving. Grounded. He thinks of her, but he does not ache for her. He wonders, but he does not obsess. If he sends a message, it is clean. Calm. Short. Neutral. And he is fully prepared for any response. That is power. The emotional check before any contact. Before you ever consider reaching out, ask yourself 3 questions. If she ignores me, will I remain unaffected? If she responds coldly, will I stay composed? If she responds warmly, will I move slowly? If the answer to any of these is no, you are not ready. And if you are not ready, you wait. Because timing is not about how much time has passed. It's about how much you have stabilized. The hidden danger of just checking in. Men often justify contact with harmless phrases. Just checking in. Saw something that reminded me of you. Hope you're doing well. But underneath those words, there is usually hope. Hope for a reaction. Hope for warmth. Hope for reopening. And hope attached to outcome is vulnerability. There is nothing wrong with vulnerability. But vulnerability without leverage is exposure. If she has not invested first. If she has not shown consistency. If nothing has changed. Why are you reopening the door? Is it because the connection is aligned? Or because the silence is uncomfortable? Be honest. The Stoic man's framework. Here is the complete structure. You do not chase. You do not beg. You do not negotiate attraction. You withdraw with dignity. If she returns with effort, you evaluate. If she returns unchanged, you disengage. If she never returns, you build. If one day you choose to reach out, you do so from emotional neutrality. Not from longing. Not from weakness. But from curiosity without attachment. And if she does not respond, you close the chapter permanently. No second attempts. No third messages. No ego battles. One move. Then silence. That is discipline. Why this makes you dangerous, in the right way. A man who can walk away once is strong. A man who can walk away twice is rare. A man who can love deeply without losing himself is powerful. When you operate this way, something shifts in you. You stop fearing loss. And when you stop fearing loss, you stop tolerating disrespect. When you stop tolerating disrespect, your standards rise. When your standards rise, your options improve. Because confidence without attachment radiates. It does not shout. It does not chase. It attracts. The truth about winning. Many men think winning means she comes back. No. Winning means you are emotionally independent whether she does or not. If she returns aligned, good. If she doesn't, good. Your growth was never conditional. Your identity was never dependent. Your peace was never rented. That is masculine sovereignty. If you ever reach out again, keep it simple. No emotional essays. No dramatic reflections. No references to the past. Just calm presence. Something like, "Hey. Hope you've been well." And then you observe. If she matches effort, you proceed slowly. If she gives minimal energy, you disengage without explanation. You do not chase clarity. You do not demand interest. Interest reveals itself through consistency. And consistency is the only language that matters. The ultimate realization. Here is what most men don't realize until years later. The woman you lose often forces you to become the man you needed to be. Heartbreak sharpens discipline. Silence strengthens emotional control. Rejection reveals insecurity. Distance exposes attachment. And if you use it correctly, you emerge sharper. Not bitter. Not closed. But refined. And sometimes, months later, you'll look back and realize you didn't lose her. You outgrew her. The closing principle. So when should you contact her again? Only if you are emotionally stable. You expect nothing. You fear nothing. You need nothing. You are prepared to walk away again without hesitation. That is the rule. Not because it guarantees her return, but because it guarantees your integrity. And in love, integrity is power. Let me leave you with this. A Stoic man does not chase what leaves. He does not beg for what hesitates. He does not cling to what withdraws. He stands grounded, disciplined, composed. If she returns correctly, he evaluates. If she does not, he continues. Because his life is moving forward regardless. And the man whose life moves forward is always more attractive than the man who waits behind. This was never about controlling her. It was about mastering yourself. And once you master yourself, no silence can weaken you. No return can destabilize you. No loss can define you. That is the principle of a grounded man. And that is Stoic love. Conclusion. In the end, this was never about tactics. It was never about playing hard to get. Never about manipulating silence. Never about making her miss you. It was about one thing, your emotional sovereignty. Only contact her again if this happens, is not a dating trick. It is a filter. A filter that protects your dignity. A filter that protects your peace. A filter that ensures you never act from desperation again. If she leaves and you chase, you lose leverage. If she returns unchanged and you accept, you lose standards. If she never comes back and you collapse, you lose yourself. But if you remain grounded, you lose nothing. Because the real victory is not whether she returns. The real victory is this. You are stable in silence. You are calm in uncertainty. You are disciplined in temptation. You are detached from outcome. And from that position, any action you take carries weight. If she reaches out with genuine investment, you evaluate. If she shows consistency, you move slowly. If she remains distant, you move forward. If one day you choose to reconnect, you do it without need. That is masculine control. A Stoic man understands something most never learn. Love is powerful. Attachment is dangerous. But self-mastery is invincible. So don't contact her because you miss her. Contact her only when you are strong enough not to. Because when you no longer need her response to feel whole. That is when you have truly won. Thank you for watching today's video. I'm so happy to share my lessons about love and relationships with you. I hope you learned something new and can apply it to your life. If you find the video useful, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next videos. Thank you for always accompanying and supporting me. Wish you a good day and don't forget to love yourself a lot.